This is the new TC Pride Podcast, episode 104, on location at the 2018 Twin Cities Pride Festival with Theresa Holl from the Kelly Nicole Foundation.
TC Pride Podcast, we are on location at the 2018 Pride Festival, doing a special interview here with someone who's, I guess, what would be considered a friend of a friend. So for people listening, I do several podcasts, one of which is the Domestic Abuse Project podcast, which is how I met Anna Zaros. She was formerly the director of communications and development for Domestic Abuse Project, and she introduced me to my guest today, who has a really great project that she wanted to let people know about. And I'm really thrilled to be here to help her do that. Could you please introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. My name is Theresa Holl. I'm the executive director of the Kelly Nicole Foundation, and Kelly is my late wife. She was a music prodigy, and her eating disorder as a result of early childhood trauma prevented her from releasing an album in her lifetime and supporting it with a tour. You have to be in really good health to be on the road, and if you're not eating, it's not happening. So she would go back to treatment again and again and again and have to cancel tours and different opportunities. So as she passed, I just thought this music has to get heard, and started the Kelly Nicole Foundation to get her album out there. It's called Hate Becoming. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and our website, kellynicole.com, if you want to buy CDs and band merch. All the money goes to our cause, which is PTSD and eating disorders. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you. So tell me a little bit about the music, first of all.
Well, as far as genre, I guess if I'm going to be picky about it, I'll call it post-grunge rock, something like that. I mean, you heard a few seconds of it.
Yeah, you know what, genres and labels aren't really as much of a thing anymore. So
good. I think that's a long time coming. But, she was definitely into Tool. She was definitely into Alice in Chains. I played one of her tracks for someone this morning, and he had a dark black t-shirt on and long black hair, and I was like, okay, you're a Kelly Nicole fan, come over here. He listens to it, he takes off the headphones, he goes, I'm hearing Alice in Chains. I said, hell yeah. That's exactly one of her main influences.
We should also say for people listening to the podcast that we're kind of in solidarity today. We're both wearing black. Yeah, so we're one of the few people here wearing black at Twin Cities Pride, but here we are.
Not all gay people like rainbows.
So this is like a multimedia sort of project. So there's a film, there's music. Tell me about the different facets of the project.
Absolutely. So we have two streams of impact. We have financial impact. We gave $816 to the Center for Victims of Torture last year. 8/16 is our anniversary.
That's right, and that's also our connection to Anna Zaros. She's currently she currently works there for Center for Victims of Torture.
Their work is so important. They go into refugee camps and they're giving free mental health care to some of the most vulnerable people on the planet. So just to think that any one of those moments is because of Kel's hard work in the studio and her perseverance and never giving up on this music, even as her body was devouring itself with cancer in her last months. She was still tracking. I mean, the last song on this album is called Take My Pills. We closed on that album, wrapped on it, and she died 6 months later. So, I mean, this is the sound of someone fighting for their life, and as horrific as it is for me and all the years that were taken from us, it's fitting for a trauma survivor to sound like they're fighting for their life as they sing, because mental health is something that people don't take as seriously on the physical side. They think, oh, you're in a bad mood or you have bad dreams or this or that, but the fact is it's very physiological. And I just want people to know that it takes years off of someone's life to endure early childhood trauma. And that here at Kelly Nicole Foundation, whether you want to pick up her album Hate Becoming on iTunes or send us a donation on our website, kellynicole.com, we could use all the support we could get to get the story out.
Yeah, and so full disclosure for people listening, neither one of us really had a lot of background on each other's work walking into this, so we're kind of doing this kind of off the cuff, but we did chat a little bit before we started recording here, and you were talking about how this is really kind of an outlet, sort of a way that you've been able to heal from. And I know something like this, it's something that you could probably never really heal fully from, but there is a cathartic element to all the stuff that you're doing. How long ago? How long has it been?
So Cal passed on our second anniversary, August 16th, 2015. You can see how that 8/16 number keeps coming up. So we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, August 16th, 2012 was our first day as a couple. Friday, August 16th, 2013, we were married. Saturday, August 16th, 2014, we had our honeymoon in the ocean. And then Sunday, August 16th, 2015, she passed. So that's why I gave $816 for our first donation, because that was about roughly what we had available to give, and that number means so much to me. So yeah, it's a love story, and it's a story about not giving up on your family.
Yeah. And speaking of stories, you're in the process of trying to tell the story right now through a film. Tell me a little more about the film, please.
So her documentary is on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Kelly Nicole Foundation. Just look through our videos and you'll see a documentary called I Want You to Hear Me, the Kelly Nicole story. We've got these beautiful prints of the movie poster that are available for $40 as well here at Pride. So if you stop by our booth, you can pick one up and get a little vibe going in your game room.
Who designed those, by the way?
I do all the design. Yeah. I take it very seriously. Like that red, for a graphic artist out there, it's 255017, and that's from her hair. So this is so close to my heart, I can't even explain it. You see the red and black all over all of our stuff. Well, this is her wedding ring with rubies and black diamonds. So the red and black comes up a lot for me. And I would never, I don't care if we were multi-billionaires and the foundation blew up, I would never sell this off to someone else to run because they wouldn't know all those details. That red is from her hair and just all these details, they mean so much to me, you know.
Yeah, and it's currently, it's been selected for film festivals.
Yeah, we had a film festival out east. We'd love to have more. I know that there's just the arts and culture in Minneapolis is second to maybe only New York, maybe, you know, as far as theaters and people who care about making a difference in the world in an artistic way. Cal took her agony of being an extreme abuse survivor and turned it into the most beautiful music. And I just know Minneapolis is the place to do this. Obviously, it's where we're from. But for any venue owners, theater owners, you know, anyone who's into the film space at all, come out and have a screening. We've got a screening coming up July 21st with our big summer benefit called Ignite This World 18, which you can learn about at our website. And if you want to take a look at it then and say, okay, what's this all about? We're going to have a discussion panel after the film. So that would be a great time to kind of get a feel for, hey, do I want to collaborate with this organization? Because frankly, I don't have a ton of contacts, and guest artists and collaboration is the heart and soul of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of curious about your background, actually. So you said you do a lot of the design and everything, right? So what's your background? Kind of what kind of brought you to this point where we're able to do all this amazing work?
Well, I'm not laughing at the question. I'm laughing at the reality. So Cal was she had extremely high IQ. She could teach herself anything. She was a self-taught sound engineer, self-taught graphic artist, and I would just see her just sit up at this, you know, for real hardcore, super frustrating technology, whether it's Adobe or Cubase or Pro Tools, and just bust it out, half asleep, you know, sick as hell. The whole time I knew her, she was dying of cancer, even though we didn't know until the last minute. It was still there. So I don't have any background in this. I'm teaching myself as I go. I'm trying to teach everything to myself that I would have wanted to learn from her. So the way I think about it when it gets really difficult and I want to turn away is, you didn't learn it from her, you're learning it for her. And that way it's just one letter. It's painful, but it's the only choice I have is to be positive.
And often with these kinds of endeavors, people who are behind the effort will invariably run into other people who kind of have a similar story or are dealing with something similar. Have you run into anyone throughout the course of doing this that you've been able to offer inspiration to in some way through your experience?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as it went down, within a week of her passing, I was telling people about the foundation, because we basically started on it the next day. You know, she needed a memorial, and it wasn't going to be in some stuffy funeral home where people tell you to keep it down. We went to a rock club, Triple Rock, if you've heard of Triple Rock in Minneapolis. And can I curse on this? Yeah, go for it. We've turned it up. So we turned her music up. Her band played. We put her mic stand up at the front there. And so people understood as soon as she passed that this isn't about to end. This is about to begin. And they come to me and tell me their stories of loss. They tell me who they've lost and what they're doing or what they're not doing or how difficult it is, and that this makes them want to keep that person's memory and everything. So I feel like we don't deal with grief well. I'll get on my soapbox about the problems of Western culture. I think there's a lot of cultures out east that deal with grief a lot more holistically. It's a part of your life. You keep the person in your life. I wear her ring. I've got the memorial tattoo and all these different things. And for all the people who are like, hey, you look at her pictures a lot, why don't you start to let it go? I just tell them, you know, take a hike. If you married someone you want to forget someday, maybe that wasn't the best marriage. That's just the way I am. You know? So a lot of people have told me that they're inspired by us keeping this memory alive and keeping her work alive. A lot of people hear the music and say it touches them very deeply. One person earlier this morning came up, listened to one song from beginning to end with her eyes shut, and I just stood there. I'm like, this is why we do this. She didn't donate very much, but not everybody can. But for those who can, if you want to jump online, make a donation. It helps us a lot because these booths are not cheap. And just to see someone be touched by her voice and take off the headphones and just say, wow, that's why we do this.
Since we are at the festival, we're literally just sitting here recording this in kind of the thick of the festival. People are kind of wandering by, rainbows and puppies and unicorns and glitter everywhere. It's amazing.
Black t-shirts.
And two people sitting here in black t-shirts. but yeah, so tell me a little about your booth, how you're set up here. So you said people have been coming by and listening to music.
I usually, if there's a crowd of people coming past, I usually say something like, hey, great music for a great cause. Come check us out, and hold up the headphones. And a lot of people will be like, all right, I'll try. I'll listen to a few seconds. And we sold a few CDs right off the bat. And some people are like, okay, it's amazing, but I'm not a rock person. I'll just make a donation. And then what was cool last year is at the end of the day, we got an online donation of $100. And that took us over of being in the red to come and do this. That took us over the top and it made it so we can actually keep the foundation going. So that was amazing. People are so generous and they care so much. If they would just hear her story, they'd want to be a part of it. So with our benefit coming up on July 21st, it's only a few Saturdays away. People who even can't make it, or maybe they're out of the country, out of the state, can buy a ticket at kellynicole.com. It'll link you out to Eventbrite where you'll get the tickets. And any extras that are donated will go to a kid from a shelter or a home for battered children or something to come and participate in the Kid Confidence Anti-Bullying Workshop. So if you think you can't come, or frankly, let's admit it, you just hate crowds, you don't like to go out and do a thing, donate and it'll go to a good cause.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times for people within that healing process, I know that a lot of that healing can come from knowing that you're impacting other people and maybe helping other people through difficult situations that maybe wouldn't have had that support otherwise.
Absolutely. I mean, I picture when I drive past a homeless person in Uptown or someone sitting under a bridge, I just think that would be me if I hadn't crashed in someone's attic for a year after Kel died. You know, like I'm not going to say I'm some kind of hero. I went to bed and wished it was over. And it's taken years for me to even kind of be able to stand up and go out here and do this work today. So I just picture if I hadn't had help where I'd be rock bottom. And the thought of her voice and her name going out to give someone else their future back, that's why we do this.
What else would you like people to know about the project?
I just like anyone else out there who's dealing with this kind of pain, whether it's an eating disorder or trauma, to realize that everything you do in your life, make it positive. You know, even if you're having one of those days where it's crushing you, it's killing you, remember that you're not alone and that there's people out there and resources that you can lean on, and just to not give up.
And so before we sat down here, you actually handed me this little press pack here. Do you want to maybe kind of explain what's in it? I haven't had a chance to go through it all the way here. So.
Absolutely. So in here we've got a flash drive for you, which is hard to explain it, but you'd have to check out our booth and come see one. It's a flash drive dog tag necklace. You wouldn't know it was a flash drive if I didn't tell you. But on it is the documentary, her entire album with WAV files, not just crappy MP3s, but the real music.
You were telling me the story about how that came about, right? This is kind of important, right?
Yeah, so I worked from home, and I'm in sales is for my regular job, and I worked from home for years and years. She busts into the office for a kiss one day, and she's walking out, and she goes, "I'm releasing my album on flash drive so people can hear WAV files, not a shitty MP3." I was like, all right, I get back to work. I didn't think about it again until it was time. She had passed, and it was time to put all this together, and I thought, there's veterans out there dying every day with suicide and that don't feel like they're allowed to talk about what they're carrying and how the war came home with them. So I said, how can we incorporate that group into this, frankly, really badass, heavy music and make her wish come true and relate to someone else? So I put this design together. I hope people like it. And this one is a gift to you, obviously, for letting me share this story.
Thank you so much.
And then we've got our mission statement in here as well, and a CD. We also have CDs. And the mission statement is simple. Kelly Nicole Foundation produces, distributes, and promotes the music of the late artist Kelly Nicole. Income benefits trauma survivors and people with eating disorders.
Yeah. And we should chat about your event a little bit more. I'm kind of curious to hear a little bit more about your event.
So it's called Ignite This World 18. I'll give you a couple flyers. And it's on July 21st. That's a Saturday. It's all day. It's from noon to 11 p.m. Noon to 4, kids activities, face painting, singing, Kids Confidence Workshop, a chance to star in a PSA. We'll try to get that out to the news, and it's going to be really cool lighting and guitars in the background, and kids can just have a blast and explain what it means to believe in themselves and encourage each other. Not to make it about me, but I was bullied badly in school, and I just look back now, I'm 38 years old. I can't think why I never told anyone. I just thought this is the building people have to go to when they're at my age, and I have to do whatever happens to me here. No, you don't. Go tell your principal. Go tell your teacher. And walk out. I could have walked home. I was 2 blocks from home. And I just look back on my former kid self and think, like, just walk out of that building and tell them you'll come back when it's safe. You deserve that much as a human being. And I wish kids today would have that confidence. If you're getting pushed around, you're scared to go to school, walk out and tell them you'll go back when it's safe. That's just, I'm sorry, that's a really strong message. Teachers might get mad, but make it safe for the kids and then get mad. You don't have a reason to be mad if school isn't safe. Anyway, I went off on a tangent there. So that's the noon to 4 pieces, the family friendly. From 4 to 6, we're screening the documentary with a discussion panel, including people from Tubman, if you've heard of Tubman Chrysalis. Yeah, combat vets are going to be there. Again, the veterans, I want them heard, and some other mental health professionals. And then from after 6 and onwards, it's just going to be food, get your drink on. We got comedians, we got live music. I'm going to be blasting Kel's shit as loud as I can. I bought my own PA, so you're going to hear this shit.
Oh, all right.
It's $30 and you can leave and come back. Once your hand is stamped, I don't care. You can go back, take a nap, come home, go back and join us for the night session. I just want as many people as they can to buy a ticket and support us.
Yeah, so I know you're trying as hard as you can to not make this about you, but I just want to say I really admire your resolve and your ability to turn this pain into something positive. I mean, you talked about the veterans, you talked about people that suffer from PTSD, people who maybe suffered childhood trauma, and a lot of times people are unable to express that pain and deal with that pain, and it ends up being internalized and it actually causes a lot more harm than it really has to. So I really appreciate your message, telling people to not be afraid to talk about their pain and to try to deal with it in a positive way.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that. It's funny that you talked about them holding it inside, because I don't know if you're going to play Hate Becoming when you edit this and whatever, but it's a pretty good track. The first lyric of that song is sitting alone, silent in all the noise.
Sitting alone, silent in all the noise, a bedroom neglect and ill fills all that surrounds me. Quiet, I stay, shh, don't let it out. It's all lies left, it's all true, right? It grows stronger and the day spins longer. Let me see, let me feel, no, anything but this. It takes over, thou that was good and pure. It's coming now, nothing left to be the defendant. It's coming now. I pretended while I turn away, I say, I feel a change over me. I feel the hate becoming. So save me from all that I am, and hate me for all that I was.
And I just picture her all those nights. I mean, she was up late because she was a musician anyway, but also because she couldn't sleep. She had the nightmares. She was terrified to fall asleep. Her body was wound up and feeling like someone was trying to attack her, and she couldn't relax. And there's only so much you can, drug yourself out. Medication isn't the answer. I know it helps a lot of people, but it's not the full answer. You have to have support and love and confidence and people supporting you in your life, and you have to have an outlet. So for the first lyric to be sitting alone, silent in all the noise, I think that says it all. I might make a t-shirt out of that one, but we got to sell some of the ones we got back here, so come visit us at Red 110.
So the website where people can go and buy all this stuff online?
We will ship to any country in the world. The Kelly Nicole online store is right at kellynicole.com, just like it sounds, regular kellynicole.com. And the warehouse is stocked up. I've poured my life savings into this. When she passed, it was kind of a sudden complication from chemo, so I had a bunch of money pulled aside. I had liquidated all my 401k and all that crap that everyone's got, and just put it into future treatments. And then she was gone in a couple weeks, so I put all that into this. So this is my life savings. It's her life's work. I like to consider her sound of her voice to be my life's work, so that way we're still together. Shop, have a good time, donate, support us, and mostly turn that shit up.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really glad we were able to do this today, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Peace out.
The TC Pride Podcast is a production of the nonprofit podcast community and Twin Cities Pride. Subscribe now on iTunes, on Android, or by email at tcpridepodcast.org. Because we're in this together. NonPod turns your email newsletter, blog, or video content into a more powerful, more personal, more intimate, on-demand listening experience. Your podcast, your story, your voice, simplified, amplified. Learn more now at nonpod.com.